Welcome everyone to Abhidhamma study taught by Venerable Paññādhika Lingara. We are at class 26. We will learn beautiful mental factors, Sobhana-cetasika today, part 1. Today is March the 15th, 2023. Buddha Sasana year is, we have passed 2500. And today, Pacific time at 6:02 p.m. And these are our agenda. And for those who are still watching us from YouTube and other social media sites, you can still join us using this Zoom ID and the password. And Bandi, now, please lead us into opening the class with Namo Tassa 3 times. Thanks, Bandi.
Okay, let's pay homage to the Buddha, reciting Namo Tassa 3 times together. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa.
Thanks, Bandi. Please lead us into our today's lecture on beautiful mental factors.
Okay. Okay, welcome back to Abhidhamma study, everyone. Let's start our today's study. So just recall before we continue, need to recall about the session, what we are doing, in Abhidhamma Sangha, chapter 2, focusing on the mental factors. We remember in the Abhidhamma Sangha that the division about the mental factors, we can consider the 3 parts. The first part is counting making the list of the mental factors and analyzing into different groups. So Anya Samana, ethically variable factors, then Akusala, wholesome factors. After that, we are going to focus on the Sobhana-cetasika, beautiful mental factors. Only 3 groups. Only 3 groups. And after that, the association method, Sampayoga Naya, is the association method. After that, the combination method. These 2 methods are explanation about the connection of the consciousness and mental factors. This are the chapter 2 of Abhidhamma Sangha. So the 3 groups of mental factors are subdivided into different groups. So the first group we have already studied. So Anya Samana group divided into 2. So what are these subgroups?
Universal and occasional.
Okay, Savachita Saradana and Pakinaka. Right? Okay. Then Akusala divided into 4, but it's not mentioned specifically, but we can divide it as according to the roots, the root Lobha, Dosa, Moha. Then we can see that the Moha compass, because it's connected to all. And if you count the Akusala, Cetasika, the Moha compass, because that is universal. The Moha group is universal, right? So in this way, you can make easier to remember in your study. Moha group compass. After that, a Lobha Ditti Mana, and because the Lobha mostly, after Moha, Lobha compass. People thinking about dosa, yeah. But even when the life starts, Lobha is the preceding one. It just arises. As soon as we start our life, but if you study the cognitive process, the mental process, and the life from the beginning, we will see the first consciousness arises in the mind is lobha. It means the active consciousness. Active consciousness is lobha. We call that is bhavanikantika lobha. It means the clinging to the life. We cling. And then by this message, you can keep the order of the Mandaveda. Oh, moha come first. After what, lobha follow to moha, then the dosa. So in this way, you can easily remember the order of the akusala Mandavedas. Then the other, the Tinamida and Vichikicha only. Okay, this is 14 akusala Mandavedas. Then today we are going to study the beautiful Mandavedas. Okay, now it's time to know about the beautiful, right? So we have already know something is connected to everywhere, beautiful or not beautiful, and also only akusala. Then today is for beautiful Mandavedas. Okay, so here. Here beautiful Mandavedas divided into subgroup. The 4 group, but the first one, Sobhana-cetasika. It consists of 19 Mandavedas. 19 Mandavedas are universal for beautiful consciousness. It associates with all kinds of beautiful consciousness. Remember the beautiful consciousness. In short, how many beautiful consciousness?
59.
59, great. So 59 beautiful consciousness. Whenever any of 59 consciousness arise in the mental process, these all 19 come together. This will be a little bit confused if you consider all. They're the 59. In the 59, if you remember that 59 starting from the Kamavachara Sobhana group, right? And how many Kamavachara Sobhana?
24.
Great, 24. Among them, if we divide it into group and then Kusala, 8. Yeah, Vipaka, 8 functional.
Vipaka, 8. Functional 8.
Okay, so at the moment of Kusala and functional Kriya, it is easy to understand. At the moment of Kusala, the Saddha, Sati, like this, the group 19 Mandaveda come together. It's okay, because it is active. At the moment of Vipaka, so Vipaka is just a resultant. We say even in sleeping, when a person is sleeping, at the moment of sleeping, consciousness is vipaka, it's called bhavanga consciousness, bhavanga process. That is vipaka. So how it can be associated with saddha, the faith, or the mindfulness, sati, like this, later on you will have this kind of consideration. Okay, just introduction, and then you can continue your critical thinking, and you can complain and you can discuss, no problem, right? So this is just introduction, because in relation to the name Sobhana-cetasika, because the 19 Mandavedas arise with all beautiful consciousness. We cannot leave behind any of them when the beautiful consciousness arises. So the second group, Pariyatti-cetasika. So you can pronounce Pariyatti, right? Pariyatti. And the abstrainers. This abstrainers mostly we define with the moral precept. Moral precept. When you take precept, Panadipada, Viramani Sikhabana, Smariyami, Viramani Sikhabana. There, Viramani, Viramani and Virati. You see that two words pronunciation very close, and also based on the same roots. So for Viramana, Virati, so avoiding something or not to commit, right? So it is abstinence. This Virati, it is closely connected to the Sila. Closely connected to Sila. We will talk about later. And there are three. Then the number 3 group is Appamanya. Can you pronounce this one?
Appamanya.
Right. Appamanya. Actually, here Appamanya. Appamanya come from Pamana. Pali word Pamana. This interesting, the name. Pamana is measurement. Measurement. You can measure something by Pamana. So measurement. Here, because of up, the pill become double. So come from not. So not, you may know that not is negative meaning. So it's object no measurement. Appamana, you cannot measure. Then this by become the Appamanya is the Pali, I'll just say that the word transformation changing into the different form to show the different meaning. So Appamanya is reference to the manifestos of the here Karuna and Mudita. Actually, if we talk about the sutta explanation, it comes in 4, right? Any of you know the 4 Appamanya?
Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekkha.
Right, these are called 4 Appamanya because these 4 qualities are connected to the immeasurable object of living beings. So Metta, loving kindness, developing loving kindness towards the living beings, even good attitude toward them, even good will toward the living beings, immeasurable living beings. So that's why Metta be called Appamanya. In the same way, the others 3. Yeah. So the name Appamanya comes from the Appamana, so cannot measure. That's why in the translation comes the illimitable, no limit. So these are 2 here. I will explain later. And the last one, Panyendriya. So can you pronounce?
Panyendriya.
Panyendriya. Yeah.
Panyendriya.
Right. So like my name here, Panya, right? Panya. So Panyendriya, Panya and Indriya. 2, right? Panya and Indriya. So Indriya, Indriya is governing something, can control like this. We call it faculty. So that's why Panya, wisdom. Indriya, faculty. So wisdom, faculty. There's only one. Okay, so understanding how to classify into subgroup the beautiful manifesta, let's go to the first group of 19 universal beautiful fetters. Here we can divide it into two parts, 19, to make easy to remember. The first group here, the 7, you just need to remember 7 first, then the other remaining 12. Remaining 12 will be in 6 pairs. So it's not that difficult if you understand. Otherwise, more members are more difficult to remember. So here, Saddha, Sati, Hiri, Ottappa, like this. To keep in mind, it's good to keep in mind the name at least, because or if something appear in the mind, you can identify If you remember, you can identify this is God, or this is bad, or like this. This is neutral. Otherwise, you can misunderstand akusala group, as a beautiful one, or beautiful one as a akusala, like this. Okay, so better to remember the mental fetters, because the mental fetters is something to identify in the consciousness. We cannot identify consciousness itself. Only when we see the beautiful mental fetter, we make sure, oh, this is beautiful consciousness. And if we see the unwholesome mental fetters, or this is unwholesome consciousness. That's why it is very important to understand and how to identify the mental fetters. Okay, so the first beautiful mental fetter, universal fetter, is saddha, very popular one. Saddha. So saddha is translated as faith. Faith. It's not many scholars does not agree this translation, but we translate this way. Faith. So because some people are talking that the blind faith also have faith, and also in other religion using this one faith to someone or someone like this. That's why, and this is not complete, cannot represent the complete meaning or the precise meaning of the saddha. So let's talk about what is saddha. Here, I didn't share that one. I would like to explain about the saddha before we continue. Here, saddha, we translate faith, but in some case we can translate as the confidence. Confidence, but this also not totally match with the word saddha. Okay, so if we add some more information, that will represent about the saddha. Yeah, faith or confidence in Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, or become specific one. Not every faith, not every confidence is called saddha. The faith or confidence in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, or the Kamma and its result. Kamma and its result. So you can take it off. And normally it is mentioned in the 5 fetters of saddha. So faith in Buddha, faith in Dhamma, faith in Sangha, and faith in Kamma action, or this action is good or bad or like this. And then it is resolved. And this good action, the good result will come. This kind of confidence is called, this closely, this is not likely the match with the word faith in the last case of Kamma and result, is because we normally use, I have faith in Buddha or Dhamma or Sangha, but faith in Sangha is faith in Kamma and result is a little quite, the strange. I have confidence. Normally we understand this way, but it doesn't matter. So confidence is mean you have the trustful or belief on the Kamma system. This can be called saddha. And in this case, we have anything to consider more about the saddha to clarify the meaning of saddha, or for more important things is to identify the saddha when it arises in our mind. Which one is saddha? Which one is not saddha? Like this. So someone believe in Buddha, but not believe in Kamma. Is it possible? Yes, Oh, I believe this is the Buddha, real Buddha, right? Or the real Buddha was born and live in the India that time. I believe in Buddha. But for Kamma, I don't know, and I don't believe, and like this. Also, some people are thinking, oh, Buddha was saved. I don't need to perform the karma, a good karma. I don't need, or like this, Yeah, like so. This is the situation. We have to consider: is it possible or not? And okay, let's continue talking about the saddha. And saddha here, it is mean by that they have faith. So by it mean they have faith, or it is the heaven of faith. This is definition for the word saddha. Or it is just the act of having faith. Sadhana is quite complicated following the literature. It's okay. So just trying to keep in mind the faith or having faith is kind of, that when the saddha arises in your mental process, you have faith or like this. And let's see the characteristic, as I mentioned, to understand, to identify the ultimate reality, we need to focus on the characteristic, etc. So having faith, or the characteristic is trusting. Trusting. It's different from, I trust you. It's not I have set out on you or like this. No, not it is different, right? Just trusting. But if I trust on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and the Karma system, it's called saddha. But still, saddha is arising in whenever we perform the kusala, and the kusala consciousness arises in our mind, even at the moment we are sleeping, right? We are sleeping, or the bhavanga consciousness, right? Still is the saddha, right? So this is a little complicated things. If we give definition, specific definition, which one is saddha? Like as I explained, the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and Karma system only. So when we are sleeping, we don't have that kind of active performance of mentalities at the moment. We don't recollect Buddha or Dhamma or Sangha or Karma system, but still the saddha is there. So just keep in mind, just question. To understand more, I cannot explain in short term. Okay, so if we continue for the function, so let's ask, what makes saddha when it arises? When it arises, so it to clarify. This clarification is the function of saddha, like a water clearing gem. So in ancient time, not the filtering system, the water filter system, that when the king travel around, and then he brought the gem, like it say the ruby, it has the power to purify the water. And when that ruby is put into the muddy water soon come to purify, because all the mud going to the bottom, and then the water come to purify. Then we can drink. So that kind of gem, water clearing gem, is not the filtering, right? In the same way, when the mental quality saddha arise, it performs to clarify the mental feathers and consciousness, like a water gem clear the water, like this. So this is the function. Also, the other function are like enter into, or like a setting out across a flood. Across a flood is mentioned in the Samyutta Nikaya here. Instead, by the power of saddha, one can across this flood. This is not the real flood, the flood of the samsara, like this. So, if a person have the saddha on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and Karma, and he continue practicing, practice the Buddhist practice, and he can cross the flood of samsara, floods of rebirth, and attain the Nibbana. This is this function is related to the sutta explanation, but this kind of saddha cannot be in this at the time of sleeping like this. So still you have to consider, the function of saddha is to clear mind. But at the moment of the sleeping, I don't see how I don't know how my mind is clear or not. It's that you have to consider more and you have to discuss. Then here the manifestation is non-fogginess. Okay, so the manifestation is some when the meditator the contemplate on his mentality, consciousness and mental fetter, identifying which one is that this one like this, and you see the meditators see this kind non-fogginess in my mind. So that is saddha. Or sometimes they manifest as resolution. So become clear like a resolution. When you take a photo, the resolution make clear, high resolution, and make clear. In the same way, the saddha make clear, clarity of the vision. And here, proximate cause is mentioned. The proximate cause, having faith in the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. This Buddha Dhamma Sangha are the proximate cause, then the condition, the close condition of the saddha to give rise. And on the other hand, this called the saddhamma sawana, they're hearing the good dhamma. Hearing the good dhamma, and you hear about the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. This is the quality of Buddha and how meaningful, and what is the dhamma to practice, and how beneficial. And what are the sangha, how the sangha give their service or how they continue their practice. And when you can listen this kind of good dhamma, and your saddha can arise. That's why when this proximate cause is there. This is saddha, to identify how we can identify saddha. Okay, so before we continue another mental fetters, let's talk about more interesting one. This is the 4 kinds of saddha. In Pali literature, you can find the 4 kinds of saddha. First one, agamana saddha. And second one, adhikama saddha. Then number 3, okapana saddha. I will send it to you after this. I will send this slide to you. Don't worry. And okapana saddha and pasada saddha. So among these 4 kinds, here okapana saddha is essential for meditator. So if you meditate, make sure you are keeping this saddha. Okay, let's see what are these 4. The first one, agamana saddha. It is the faith of bodhisattva here. The faith of bodhisattva. So when the bodhisattva make determination, after making determination, he has to continue at least how much period? At least?
Full attention.
Yeah, for asanchita and 100,000 right. So in calculated period, there's no years, it's kappa. This kappa is called what's called the eons or the times, because the time the world system is crashed and come again. It's called 1 kappa. And that kind of kappa, we cannot calculate by the years, very long time. It's only 1 kappa. Then that kind of kappa, 1 kappa, 2 kappa, and 1,000 kappa, 100,000 kappa, 1 and 2. A large number is no more comfortable to count on. But this time, you can use the calculator or computer. You can continue millions and billions. But if you're counting by the number, the ancient time, it's no more all comfortable to continue, then give up. Oh, I cannot calculate anymore. And this, then start again. There's one asankhya finished, one incalculable finished, and the second asankhya in this way, very long time period. So to preserve his career to fulfill the paramita, so Bodhisattva need this kind of sada, agamana sada. Otherwise, he will give up, the agamana sada. Also here, Pachika Bodhisattva, also at least they need two incalculable period, two asankhya, and like this. So to keep the same fulfillment or the same career to a long time, for that time he needs sada, this kind of agamana sada. Once this sada arises, this kind of agamana sada arise, it never forget. Never forget. Once you make this determination, you don't forget. For Bodhisattva, for asankhya, for incalculable period of the world system, he didn't forget. And after making determination, if at the presence of the living Buddha, so for our Gautama Buddha, he encountered which Buddha?
Dipankara.
Right, Dipankara Buddha. In front of the Dipankara Buddha, he made bond to fulfill the paramita until he attained the Buddhahood. We say the Buddhahood, the Sarvanyutta Jnana, and the Arhata Magga at the same time. So to become a Buddha, until he become a Buddha, he will never forget, because of this sada, this agamana sada. So for us, we make determination today. Okay, I will practice meditation, or I will recite the sutta, or I will pay homage to the Buddha how many times. But tomorrow, I forget. It's not close to the agamana sada, right? So recollecting, Bodhisattva made in this way. And here, success is fulfill faith. Very strong power. Once he did it, he never forget. Okay, so we have to respect. Even the Bodhisattva make in this way, I will make small, in a small amount, following that kind, that qualities. I will not let myself to forget tomorrow or the day after tomorrow, or within 1 week. I will continue. In this way, you can attain the Paṭipatti Magga like this. If you forget many times, and you cannot, right? Okay, so this is good to know how powerful agamana sada. And this is for Bodhisattva or Pachika Bodhisattva. And the second one, Abhidhamma sada, is the faith noble one, here noble person. So this faith or this kind of Abhidhamma sada arise in the noble person's consciousness. As long as you are ordinary person, Puthujjana, you cannot have this kind, because it comes through the attainment of path and fruit knowledge. So once a meditator attain the Magga, that is the first Magga, Sotapaddi Magga, he got this kind of sada. By this kind of sada, he has unshakable faith on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and Karma system. That's why, in some story, in others tradition, they are talking about, the Venerable Ananda have doubt on the Buddha, or Venerable Sariputta have doubt on the Buddha's quality and compared by himself, or like this. In some other tradition, they are talking about that. But in Pali literature and the Theravada tradition, we don't have that kinds. A noble person, after becoming the noble disciple, they understand the Buddha's position. They will not make, and they will never make comparison to the Buddha by themselves. because once they get the saddha and this come an unshakable level. And some stories said Sakka, king or Deva, he came down to the human realms to test the one who attained the Sotapanna. That person, oh, you just Buddha is not real Buddha. The Dhamma is wrong, and I will give you, incalculable amount of the words like this. And this kind, the Sakka failed to make this because the noble person cannot, the faith of noble person cannot be shaken by any kinds. And also, here by the Saddha, he believed in the karma system. Very strong belief on that karma system. If someone's trying to make confusion about the karma system, he will not follow. Because this is because of the power of Abhidhamma Saddha. Only when you attain the mega or phala, this saddha you can possess. So, okay, as I said, the third one is very important for meditator. So, Okappana Saddha here. When one hear about the 3 noble gems, Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and appear in him, so this saddha appear in him. That kind of saddha is called the Okappana Saddha. So here, there's strong faith, without shaken by any disturbance. This also strong, but the level of the second one is different. This level is already in the starting level, unshakable. But here, Okappana Saddha also, we can say, is hard to be shaken, because here, Saddha on the Buddha, how we say, the supreme one is real Sammasambuddha. Oh, the Buddha is the real one. It's not just imagination. In many cases, we can understand in our region what kind of person was there, or in like this in the history or 1,000 years ago, he appeared in this way and he come back to the Deva realms and governing around that area. Become, we call in Myanmar, we call which one? The Boboji, right? Boboji. But that nobody know the historical account. Just talking here and there. But even several years ago, several hundreds years ago, we can find this kind of stories talking in the different region. But when we hear, this kind of separate, the powerful Deva is here, he saved or he guide or he punish or in this way. But for the strangers, if we visit there, okay, you believe in that, okay, you continue. But for me, it's not that meaningful like this. But for the Buddha, when someone hear about the Buddha, he can decide, this supreme one is the real Sammasambuddha. He knows the Dhamma by himself. And knowing and seeing all Dhamma, something to be understood, is called Nyaya. And it should be known by the Buddha, by penetrating knowledge himself without any teacher. Okay. So Sammasambuddha, this is the specific quality of Sammasambuddha. And when a person hear about the Buddha, okay, that is called Sammasambuddha, by this kind of qualities. Without understanding this information, how we can get the Okappana Saddha? We cannot get, right? That's why to keep the Okappana Saddha, we need to learn about the Buddha. Without knowing who is Buddha, what is Buddha, and what are the quality of Buddha, good or bad, we don't know. If we don't know, then we cannot have this kind of Saddha, Okappana Saddha. So if you want to have Okappana Saddha, you need to learn about the Buddha. What is Buddha? Why the Buddha is important to consider as a great teacher. Like this. and considering, oh, this is the qualities he possesses, and that he is great teacher. He is worthy of my trust. Like this. So if you can keep this kind of attitude toward the Buddha, so you have the Saddha. His Saddha is Okappana Saddha. Then for the Dhamma, so Saddha on the 10 kinds of Dhamma. So not every Dhamma is called the Saddha in this case. 10 kinds of Dhamma, for knowledge, for fruit, for path knowledge and fruit knowledge, Nibbana, so 9. After that, the scripture, this is the teaching of the Buddha recorded, and we call the Pariyatti Dhamma. So Pariyatti Dhamma, still you believe in that, okay, this is this comes from the Buddha and preached by the Buddha, and I keep my faith on that. Then this is called the faith on Dhamma, Okappana Saddha, in the level of Okappana Saddha. So here the scripture refers to the preached by the Buddha, real doctrine, which is, real doctrine means which is able to deliver from suffering or round of rebirth by following the instruction come in the scripture. I can overcome the suffering. I can escape from the round of rebirth. This kind of faith, keeping on the scripture, is called the Saddha on the Dhamma. Saddha on the Dhamma. So if you don't know about the Dhamma, what is path, what is Magga, what is fruition, phala, what is Nibbana, or what are the teaching of the Buddha, if you don't know, and how you can keep the Saddha on Dhamma in the level of Okappana Saddha. That's why for meditator, not only just sitting there, and then you need to try to learn more about the Buddha Dhamma, so that you can keep the Okappana Saddha on the Buddha Dhamma Sangha. And here, the Sangha refers to the 8 kinds of noble one, Ariya Sangha. So if you keep your faith on the Ariya Sangha, it is, you have the Okappana Saddha. Here we call, the Sammuti Sangha. Sammuti Sangha is, the conventional or conceptual community of the bhikkhu. We call this is called the Sammuti Sangha. We make the name, give the name. This is Sangha, member of Sangha, and the organization is called Sangha. And this is different from the noble 8 kinds of noble one. Here, the 8 kinds of noble one only when the person attained the Magga or Phala and he entered to the member of the Sangha, the real Sangha here, Ariya Sangha. So here, real bhikkhu who has been practically trying to reach Nibbana with the great respect of 3 kinds of noble triple gem. Okay, so recollecting the Sangha, the Baju or Sangha, that everywhere we can find there, the Supatipanno Bhagavato Savaka Sangha like this. This kind of qualities are referring to the qualities of the noble, the noble Sangha, the Ariya Sangha. Now for the Puthujjana Sangha, sometimes Supatipanna well trained, sometimes not well trained, not well practiced. By seeing that he is not well practiced, and I feel my Saddha on the Sangha. No, this is not the way. This is the personal weakness. If he is doing in this way, he is not included in the noble disciple, the Ariya Sangha, noble Sangha. That's why you just keep your Saddha on the noble and noble Sangha, and you will never go wrong way by the influence of the other's mistake. Otherwise, focusing, bhikkhu is doing this and that, and I feel my Saddha to the Sangha. No, not like that. So for one who knows about what is Sangha in this way, and what are the qualities of Sangha to keep the faith, Saddha, so he will never fail Saddha. Maybe whether he approached to the bhikkhu or not, it doesn't matter. And then he just recollect that Buddha's disciple, noble disciple, are practicing in this way. Paṭipatti, well practiced, and Paṭipatti, they practice upright in upright practice, straightforward. In this way, recollecting the Sangha's virtues, and one can keep the Okappana Saddha. So if you are practitioner or meditator, this is very important. If you lost the Buddha, Saddha on the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, or Sikha, that even if you don't believe, this is the way to have the better position of mental states, to attain the enlightenment, and you will not continue. If you doubt, Buddha is real Buddha or not, then starting from there and then, what are the Dhamma? You doubt on that, like this, and you lost Okappana Saddha, and your practice cannot be completed, cannot be successful. That's why if you wish to be successful in meditation practice, and you need to learn more about the Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, and training, and you keep Okappana level, the level of Okappana, with the understanding, right? Then the last one, Pasada Saddha, is not necessary to have the understanding. Here, faith ordinary one. There's not noble person, only ordinary one, which occur merely traditionally. Still, that person, once he see the Buddha or listen the Dhamma and get the faith, on that case, and without understanding what are the virtues, but still he keep the faith according to the traditional way. Or my parents, pay respect, our pay respect. Then okay, I keep my faith on that. But as long as the object is Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, etc., the good right object, we call that Saddha. Sometimes people keeping, that it will be different from the keeping faith on the statue. This statue will save me. Like this, okay. Or Buddha statue is very, very nice appearance, very beautiful. It must be powerful and save me. I will pay respect 10 times in a day, like this. Or this is not, not to the Buddha, just to the appearance. To the appearance. Now, recently I saw on the media, some people are sharing the one photo given by created by the AI, right? AI, this is about the Buddha image. It's me approximately close to the Buddha, right? Because AI has this kind of like this, they are considered in this way, and they are happy to share. And maybe they are thinking they're keeping on this photo, the person in this photo seem Saddha. But you have to be careful about that, right? If later on, if you learn, this is the Hollywood era or someone else, how you can keep your Saddha, right? Sometimes it is hard to say real Saddha. Actually, Saddha going to the quality, recollection, the quality, not the name Buddha, 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 not Buddha only. When you are reciting the Buddha, you understand Buddha refer to the person who knows Dhamma and who teach Dhamma. Like this. Recollection, I just want to emphasize their qualities, need to emphasize the quality. When the person recollect the Buddha, you just need to recollect the quality, that kind of qualities. And not only the name of Buddha, or not only the appearance. Sometimes some people just sitting in front of the Buddha, okay, just looking good and get the influence on the appearance. This is just from the handsome appearance, right? Not from the Buddha's qualities. Even sometimes some people have familiarity with some kinds of statue, not Buddha, like a Deva statue or like this, and sometimes the statue or the historical people. They feel something good. Or I'm going to in front of the Abraham Lincoln or someone like this, and I feel something, confidence I get. No, it's not Sattva, right? So in this case, I just want to mention what is Sattva. Yeah. Okay. So here the Sattva is in this way. And let's continue about the sati, mindfulness. So mindfulness is, so we translate only mindfulness, but actually the meaning of sati is, how to say, not wobbling. Wobbles mean floating. You know that it's a mind without sati. Mind without sati seems the floating on the object. Floating on the object. It's not easy to identify by ourselves. Okay, let's see. So by the power of sati or mindfulness, the mind is not floating away from the object. Not floating away from the object means mind stick to what the object. Mind can stay with the object. This is sati. But you know, not only in meditation, in some cases you recollecting in good, when the beautiful consciousness arises, this mindfulness comes. And with the mindfulness, the power of mindfulness, and then the mind is not floating away from the object. And in Myanmar, it's many definition comes, not forgetfulness. We call the mame. If someone is forgetful and forgetting something, even when you think I forget mean the lack of mindfulness, you're thinking that. You're trying to make any kusala, any wholesome deal, and you forget. Even when you are meditating, focusing on the breath 1 time, 2 times, and okay, 2 minutes later, forget it, right? Then, this is the lack of the power of mindfulness on that object. It just floating away from the breath and passing to other object. If the mindfulness is enough powerful and your mind connected to the same object, your specific object, breath like this. And in the comprehensive manual of Abhidhamma, you can check there. You can read. That is mostly emphasized on the present, present of mind, because if we consider about the past item, past object, is the work of we already mentioned that the sanya, right? In the Anya Samana group, right? We already mentioned that sanya. Sanya is similar to the carpenter's mark. He made the initial marking. Then recall it on that. This is given by the sanya. So not to mix with the meaning, the explanation comes. This is mostly related to the present of mind. But in the sutta explanation, this comes the mind, the sati also have that kind of function. The same, when we study the sutta, you will learn about that. The explanation come in this way. Sati also working with the sanya together in that case. Then, so because here to give right this mindfulness sati, what is the proximate cause? The proximate cause is the strong sanya, strong perception. So here you can make a link. Strong perception give right there mindfulness, sati. The mindfulness keeping in present, but it does not mean only the present moment had to be observed in the meditation or not. I don't mean that. That if mind is connected to the present object, not floating away from that present object, this is the work of mindfulness, right? It caused by the sanya, the previous sanya. Before you keep perception or focus on the breath for 30 minutes, 20 minutes, you keep that perception. Then the former 1 minute, the first minute, you are focusing on that and then learning about the object. If you don't forget, that sanya supporting to keep right the following mindfulness. And then you can keep your mindfulness on the same object, keeping the right object. And if sanya not supporting on that by the influence of the other mental factors, disturbance, and the mindfulness going away, disappear. You cannot keep mindfulness on that. Okay, so just make a note here. Mindfulness are mostly, the signifying presence of mind. Presence of mind. Attentiveness. The Bhikkhu word is used the word attentiveness. So attentiveness on the present, keeping the present object like this. To identify from the perception sanya. Okay, so this also mindfulness is quite complicated, not easy one. Saddha and mindfulness. Then the other two are not that difficult. So hiri, shame or wrongdoing, and ottappa, fear of wrongdoing. So these are opposite of the ahirika and anuttappa. So here you see whenever kusala, awesome, and and also we can say the all beautiful consciousness connected to the hiri and ottappa like this. But especially the kusala mind movement, is caused by the hiri and ottappa, shame and fear. And akusala case, ahirika and anuttappa. Then aloba adosa. Aloba adosa. Aloba is the opposite of the loba, non-greed. Adosa, non-hatred. Yeah, the opposite of the dosa. Now, if we see, hiri ottappa as the opposite of the ahirika and ottappa, and aloba adosa, opposite of the loba and dosa. So now, not that difficult to remember these seven, right? So in this stage, as the beginner of the Abhidhamma study, you need to remember this mental factor. So gradually you're trying to remember in this way, and later on the explanation become accessible, not that difficult. Otherwise, you get confused if I refer to something in the meaning or in the name. Okay, let's continue the last one. Tattara Majjhattata, neutrality of mind. Neutrality of mind is, how is neutrality? Another neutral one is for the upekkha, right? Upekkha, neutral feeling, like this. But here, this Tattara Majjhattata, you have to know that the upekkha refers to the feeling. So you have to make sure Tattara Majjhattata, neutrality of mind, and the upekkha is feeling. So, but if we study in the advanced level of Abhidhamma, here the upekkha is explained in 10 types of upekkha. There, this one is only one. One is here, Tattara Majjhattata, is called the Tattara Majjhatupekha, like this. And the other one, the feeling is called the Vedanupika, like this. So Vedanupika. So in this way, later on we will learn the 10 types. Here, I would like to make sure you understand what it means, Tattara here. The neutrality of mind. This is mental fetter. This mental fetter make the mind to be in neutral position. This is only that work. So here, there in the middleness is different from the neutral feeling that this Venerable body say. So as a mental attitude keeping balance like this. So this work, how it work is mentality group. This arises with the consciousness and mental fetter together, right? And when it arises, and the characteristic is the consciousness and the other mental fetter evenly. Once they arise together, and this is a kind of functioning, the natural functioning. As a natural phenomena, it works in its own text in this way. So keeping mental and the consciousness and mental fetter even. Firstly, it just need to be neutrality of mind. And also this one, Tattara Majadata, is equal to Ubeka. Once again, it's come with the Ubeka, right? Ubeka referring to Brahma Vihara Ubeka. We have counted the Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Ubeka, that one. That Ubeka not referring to the to the feeling. So neutrality of mind. That's why here adosa, no hatred, the opposite of the dosa. Also one of the Brahma Vihara. Which one do you think? Brahma Vihara equivalent to no hatred. Which one?
Metta.
Metta, right. So there's no Metta Cetasika. There is no Upekha Cetasika. Sometimes Upekha refers to the feeling, and here in Brahma Vihara, it refers to the neutrality of mind and the Tattara Majadata. That's why when the Abhidhamma is counted as the mental fetters, although Abhidhamma is explained in Sutta, in 4 number, the calculated in 4. But here in the mental fetter, only 2. Because Metta equivalent to non-hatred, that there is no Metta Cetasika. And Tattara Majadata equivalent to the Upekha. That's why no more Upekha Cetasika. So only 2, Karuna and Mudita, remain in the Abhidhamma. Yeah. So, okay, so as I mentioned that non-hatred adosa is same as Metta, but not all adosa is Metta. Not all adosa Metta, but when we say what is Metta, it is the function of the adosa. Okay, so to make clear that when we develop loving kindness toward the beings, living beings, right? We have to develop our loving kindness toward living being, keeping them to be happy, healthy, or to have the well-being of good condition in their life. And at that moment, what strongly works is adosa. But at the level we call the Metta. But when it arises, as I said, these all 19 fetters are universal for beautiful fetter. If we are not developing the certain attitude toward the living being to call Metta. At that moment, when adosa arrives, we just call it is adosa. And only when we develop the attitude for well-beings of the other well-beings of the living beings, at that time we call that is Metta. Okay, so don't be confused yourself. Here, not all adosa are Metta, but Metta refers to adosa. It means the one of the function of one of the, how to say, the performance of the adosa is Metta. And Tattva Majjhattha also the same, you know. When the neutrality of here, not only keeping the consciousness and mental factor evenly. So specifically when we develop our attitude toward the living being or the living beings, the owner of their karma, like this, you know, the owner of their karma, and they, whatever good and bad come from their own karma in this way, and we keep even equanimous attitude toward the being. At that time, the Tattva Majjhattha is working as the Ubeka, right? So let's talk about the fake one, not real adosa, not real Metta actually. The real Metta is called the selfish affection. Selfish affection. You can say attachment, right? When we consider about our family member, oh, he will be good, not because of keeping, not because of good attitude to us as a living being. Our consideration is centered toward ourselves, because he is my brother, he is my family members, and he may be good, like this. He may be happy, but the other I don't care, like this. And this kind of selfish affection can be misunderstood as Metta, loving kindness. So if we develop our loving kindness toward our family member, our teacher, our friends, and we have to be careful, you know, not to develop that kind of selfish affection or the attachment toward them. If we are developing akusala, not kusala, right? Although we are, oh, I want him to be happy, I want him to be healthy. Yes, the base is different, because he is my what? Self-centered attachment arise. And not because of that. He is a living being. I want him to be happy and healthy and in good position. And in this case, you can develop. Otherwise, for the attachment, you can develop only towards the certain people related to you. Out of your area, you cannot develop. Or like this, you know, for your neighbor or this side, my neighbor is my good friend, I will develop my loving kindness. But the other side, oh, he's not a good guy, I cannot develop like this, you know. It's different, you know, because you develop your attachment and you thinking, oh, this is Metta. It's not really that. It is because it is the enemy, is what we call the near enemy. Near enemy. Very hard to identify. When you're developing, oh, may my parents be happy and healthy and like this. But, you know, thinking about that, oh, because they are my parents, I love them. I love them. And so this going to the occupied by the near enemy. But we didn't know. Still, we are thinking that I'm developing my loving kindness, but not loving kindness. Loving kindness and selfish affection are different in the nature, kusala and akusala. And the more difficult thing here, neutrality of mind. So neutrality of mind in the level of the upekkha, it keeps the equality, or upon all beings, or my son, or my parents, they also an heir of their karma. They have to receive whatever they have done, good and bad, like this, and keeping. And in the same way, the others, so somebody not familiar with us, or yeah, also the same. But as a near enemy, you see the worldly minded in indifference due to ignorance. Some people thinking that I have very strong upekkha because my mind is not shaken by something happening. It means under the ignorance, we forget to develop our positive qualities, compassion, loving kindness. But we still, our mind is not shaken by the other suffering. I don't care. Like this, whatever happened in Ukraine or somewhere like that, in Myanmar, or like that, I don't care. It means you are thinking that I'm keeping my upekkha. No, not that upekkha. That is influenced by the ignorance. Then your mind is like frozen, like this. Not able to develop the positive mental factors. It's not come with the proper attitude. Just ignoring that. Just ignoring whatever happened to you is okay. No, not to me. On this. And only when we understand their suffering, their happiness, but we keep our mind in balance, because they're happy for their good karma, because they suffer for their bad karma, but still I keep my mind in balance. And in that case, you can say this is purposely doing that, the upekkha practice. It is hard, mostly you can misunderstand with the ignorance. Under the ignorance, mind is still and cannot develop. So these are 7, the universal feathers, beautiful feathers, universal beautiful feathers. Afterward, later on, we will study the 6th pair in the next lesson, right? Kaya Pasati, etc. So in this lesson, I'm going to stop here, and you just make sure to remember what is Riya Sada. And also there's Face Sada. Also, we have to talk about that later, right? But today I will not continue. And here I have explained the faith Metta and faith Upekkha. So these are common happen, the common events we encounter in our daily life. So we have to be careful to make sure I'm developing loving kindness, or I'm not under the ignorance, ignorance, so that I cannot pay attention on the other's situation. I just ignore, but thinking I have upekkha. Yeah, some of my devotees and students, they ask me that kind of question. So what happened to them? I don't care, and I just go. I just passing. And my mind is not shaken in that way. It's mean I have strong nature of upekkha like this. She's thinking that, and I say no, not that way. And you just consider why he is suffering, why she is suffering, and you know this situation, and you know the cause, and you can keep balance, but not ignoring. You know that, then you practice that, and that's called the upekkha. This is called Brahma Vihara. It's not ignorance, right? Okay, so I'm going to start here my explanation, and let's continue Q&A session if you have question, right? Okay.
Thanks, Bhante, for teaching us beautiful mental factors today. We are going to end live streaming right here. Thank you all for joining us on both Zoom and also on the social media. We will now continue with the Q&A sessions on Zoom, so you can join us using this Zoom ID and passcode. May all beings be healthy, happy, and peaceful. May we soon realize Nibbana.